Welcome to the Utah Street Banter Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode here on the Utah Street Banter Podcast. Like always, I'm Cody. Along with me, like always, is Elijah. What's up, man?
Not much.
Just saying always as many times as I possibly
Like
can.
always, like always,
Like
yeah.
always. Hey,
No.
we're always here.
Like always, we're here to talk about baseball.
Yeah,
But obviously a lot's happened.
Yeah.
We're coming to you, just so you know, is Tuesday night after the deadline has happened.
Almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah, the Orioles are still playing, winning 6-2 currently, and we wanted to wait so we can get all the deals, talk about everything that's happened.
Yeah. Pretty crazy past few days. We'll get into all the trades here in 1 second. If you can just give me like a minute and a half to go through a few things real quick. I'm going to run through a couple of series notes. So obviously we struggled against the Padres in the past week. We lost the game Friday night 6-4, Saturday 9-4. Sunday we decided to win. Thank God.
Yeah, we did try to lose that, though.
We did try. Yeah, Cano, in
Sure
that last inning, there were some crazy things happening there. We tried our best to lose it, but we ended up pulling it out. Then we had a doubleheader on Monday, and I think you were there. You were at the good part.
Yeah, I definitely was. So got there, got to take off work early and head to the first game. Got into the stadium right after they were taking the field, basically. I got the perfect timing. It was a great game. Our offense was finally clicking kind of on all cylinders. First inning, bases loaded, no outs is something great to see. We scored 4 runs. Obviously, the scary part that I think pretty much everyone in the baseball world knows, McCann gets drilled in the face.
Yeah, first inning.
It was actually, at first, I didn't think it was as bad as it was because
I saw it on TV. It was terrible.
Yeah, obviously, I was behind him kind of, so I didn't get to see it hit his face directly. It just kind of looked like it caught his helmet. And then obviously watching him crawl around on the ground, you figured, well, that's not good.
Yeah.
And just blood pouring out of his nose.
Crazy.
Me and my dad were there. We're just sitting there. There's no way he's playing.
Yeah.
No way he's playing.
And because Adley was at the step ready to go.
Yeah. He was ready. And, give it to McCann. He's a dog. He stayed in the game, so Adley didn't have to try to catch 18 innings of baseball. I even, during the whole debacle, trying to figure out if he's going to play, if he's not, shoving tissues up his nose and stuff, I look on our 40-man to see who's the only other catcher left. And I'm like, well, he might be activated after this game or something like that. It was wild, though. I wouldn't have stayed in if I was.
Yeah, I guess so. At first, I was like, thinking his nose was broke. You could tell if you watched the game.
And it's not even broke, though. It's come out. It's just fractured.
Okay. So
which is
fractured. But, blood everywhere. Even it was even bleeding in the post-game press conference.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, why don't he just sit this game, come in the next one? And then you realize why, because the trainer is smarter than I am.
Yeah.
He knew this is only going to get worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that interview afterwards,
it was bad.
Barely, his eye was almost.
But what's crazy, in the last 2 innings, when he was catching, I'd look into the mask, and it looked like that. It was crazy, like eyes squinting. It's sort of, it's crazy.
That's like even my dad brought up the point that I didn't think about. Just think about the pressure on your face of the catcher's mask.
Yeah, it's 1,000 degrees out there. The humidity's at 198.9%.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
He's tougher than.
It's funny because we had a massive story that day because that was Zach Eflin's first game.
Oh, yeah.
So we just got him in the trade.
That was really impressive. He had a great first inning, came out there, had like 3 or 4 strikeouts after 2.
Yeah.
Ended up with 7 strikeouts, gave up quite a bit of hits, but spread them out enough. Gave up 3 runs, but it's counted as 3 earned runs. I personally think it should be 3 unearned because, it's 1 out, runner on first base, ground ball right to Gunner, and he just eats it. It takes about a hop. I don't even know what to say. Should have been a double play. Should have. And then
and the score was really nice not to give an error there.
Yeah, that's why I told my dad, actually. I was like, the Gunner must have paid him off or something because that was an error.
My man is struggling.
Yeah, I'm glad he got the second game off. But, and right after that, I forget the guy's name, but hits his first career home run.
Yeah.
And the Orioles fans were just so kind enough to throw the ball back on the field.
I did see that.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know if they did that out of frustration or if because they know it was his first career home run. I only knew that because I was surrounded by Barger.
Yep.
I only knew that because I was surrounded by Blue Jays fans that said that, and they ended up getting the ball back into him.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's a cool moment for him, I guess. But we won. That's the good part. Keegan Aiken did what Keegan Aiken does. He comes in a blowout game, gives up a home run. As soon as he comes in, I told my dad he's going to give up a home run, and he sure did. But we were winning by enough, so it really didn't matter. Great game all around. Second game was terrible, though.
Yeah, Povich is really struggling. He's 1-5 now, went 4 innings, 3 earned, but 6
so many
runs.
unearned. because
Six- I mean, Westbrook at
Westbrook
2.
really struggled at short, and that's the
Man.
first game he's ever played short
Yeah.
in the majors. So I guess.
And then Cole Irvin, as you'll tell people later, probably his last time pitching with us, he goes 3, gives up another earned. Kimbrel does what Kimbrel does, gives up another home run. And but then again, Vladdy is one of the best hitters in baseball right now.
I mean,
so he's crushing it, you know. So but that's about as much as I want to talk about on our box scores, because we got the some crazy trades that's happened today. Let's try to dive deep. Obviously, we talked about the Zach Eflin trade. We gave up Matthew Etzel, Mac Horvath, and Jackson
Baumeister, something.
Yeah, so I love this trade. Thank God we did it before
Today.
Tuesday's deadline, because we couldn't have afforded him. And everybody imagine if we didn't get Corbin Burns and we try to get him right now. Not a chance we can afford him. He's a Dodger or a Padre. It's just, what a day. But anyway, pretty happy to get him. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the game before we started recording here, and Elias was in the booth talking to Kevin Brown, and he was actually saying how he feels that Zach Eflin was the best starter traded. And I looked into it. He probably is the best starter traded at the deadline, which I know is crazy to say because he's not insane. But, I mean, I think the two people that you could say are up there with him would be Jack Flaherty, who's a rental, and you say Kikuchi, who's a rental. He's by far the best starter that got traded with control, and they're just the prices are so high.
Crazy.
I feel like this is a steal. Matthew Etzel's not even in our top 30. These are all 2023 draft picks.
Yep.
He actually climbed the fastest. He was already in AA.
Yep.
And he was doing good, but I mean, it's kind of hard to say no when that's they're asking. Mac Horvath is our number 10 prospect. He can play a little bit of third base and first base. He's doing solid, but not quite living up to expectations, not excelling as quick as possible. And then Jackson Baumeister was the second pick that we took in last year's draft. The highest Michael Elias has ever picked a reliever, or not a pitcher, sorry. And it's interesting to see. I would have to say that the Rays probably had these guys on their draft boards last year, because I don't think they didn't do anything so outstanding in the past season to trade for them. It's more history and what they're projected to be. But I definitely think Zach Eflin, I mean, we got him for next year. And I think the key to this deal definitely is that we're paying him $18 million next year. But when you think about it, $18 million for a good starting pitcher is nothing. He has postseason experience. Not good postseason experience, but it is experience. I mean, he got blew up by the Rangers last year, but so did literally every other pitcher that faced the Rangers, basically. Go look at Grayson Rodriguez's postseason start.
Yeah, and another trade that happened a few days ago was with the Phillies. This one kind of hit you in the heart a little bit. I get it. I understand the trade. I'm not mad at the trade at all. We gave the Phillies, we traded them Austin Hayes, who is an Oriole, and just he's an Oriole. Like, I don't know how to say it differently, but we got Sir Anthony Dominguez and Christian Pache. I like this trade more than I thought. I mean, we need bullpen help, and Sir Anthony, I think, needs a change of scenery. He struggles on strikes. The best way I can kind of tell you what, in my mind, a equivalent to this, a good comp, is Fuji. We had Fuji last year. He struggled on the strikes a little bit. So it's hard. We're hoping that maybe we can get more strikes out of him. So far, it hasn't looked bad.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I even think comparing him to Fuji might be too insulting to him, because he's definitely better than Fuji.
I know. I mean, I'm just trying to give a trade deadline deal.
Because this is really where you look at his numbers. You say, why did we trade for someone like this? So he had a 9.58 ERA in the month of April and March. That's what hurts his ERA. He had a 1.04 ERA in May and a 1.04 ERA in June.
Let's go.
And he struggled a little bit recently before we got him, which probably honestly helped his price. But he's been doing good with us. He's looked much better than I thought. He's easily our hardest throwing bullpen arm. He has a team option for next season. But
Did you see what he did the other day when he threw it through the backstop net?
Yeah, he threw it right through the net. That's scary.
Yeah,
he throws it hard. His strikeout numbers. That's kind of what we needed in the bullpen. We needed a swing and miss guy, because you got to think, other than Kimbrel, like Cano, our highest leverage guy, he's more of a ground ball guy. You don't want a ground ball guy to come in the 10th inning when you have the automatic runner at second. That's kind of struggle.
Yeah. So my question is, do you feel better about Sir Anthony Dominguez in our bullpen than let's say, I don't know. Name somebody else in our bullpen currently. Beforehand,
Jacob Webb.
like you, I do. I like.
I take Jacob.
So
Webb.
so you take Jacob Webb over him?
I take currently.
I don't.
I
Jacob
currently-
Webb gives up a home run every time I watch him.
well, that's just when you watch it.
I'm gonna watch him anymore.
Currently, it's Jacob Webb. I would take over him Cano.
Okay, Cano, yes.
I wouldn't take Kimbrel over him at this
No,
point.
I agree.
And
absolutely.
I mean, I think I'd take CNL Perez. He's looked good of late. It's just this is my thing. He has to prove himself a little bit more. He's only had 2.
The best part about CNL Perez is his like I love his demeanor.
yeah, and his hat catches in the out.
His hat catches are good.
But we also got Christian Pache in this trade.
Yeah.
He's much. If you saw my Instagram or Facebook post from when this trade happened, the best way to say is a defensive first outfielder.
Yeah.
He's not a good batter. I mean,
He's 1 for 1.
He you know what? He sure is. He is 1 for
Batting
1.
1,000 with that.
He had it was a nice hit too.
Yeah.
But I mean, he has this season he's batting .210 now, which take this into consideration how much he's played this season. He had a .202 average going into yesterday's game, so it bumped up 8 points on 1 hit.
Gotcha.
He's just 63 OPS plus. He was a top prospect formerly and has not lived up to expectations at all.
Okay.
I'll get to another trade later that kind of signifies he's probably not going to be on the major league team for much longer. But the one good thing is if we do hold on to him, he's a free agent in 2028.
Okay.
So that's a lot of years of control.
Yeah.
A lot of years of control. And you never know what they could tap into with him.
Right.
I mean, think of him as just he's a defense guy. Just that's really all he is.
Right, I agree. And one that really was hard to swallow was one that happened Tuesday, right about an hour before the trade deadline, or a couple hours before, and the Orioles traded. We received Trevor Rogers, who is a starter from the Marlins. Yeah, okay, ready? We gave up Connor Norby and Kyle Stowers for Trevor Rogers.
Yeah. So
And guys, just to give you a heads up, so I don't love this, but I just want to tell you this is this sort of let us know what people were asking for.
Yeah.
Like we got Trevor Rogers and we gave up 2 of our big prospects. Can you imagine if we wanted anything else?
yeah, I mean,
It kind of made it so I didn't blame Elias anymore.
yeah,
Like I was like getting upset with Elias not doing anything, and then when he made this trade, I said, "No problem, sir. I understand what you're telling us.
Yeah.
You're telling us that you're overpaying for literally everything."
like looking back after how the day went, for us to go out and get, say, a Tariq Skubal, I think just
Everything.
give them Norfolk basically.
Everything.
That's what they
wanted Jackson Holiday
Yeah.
and Kobe Mayo.
and that's what I'll get to later. Of it's surprising that like Kobe May didn't go anywhere, which I'm glad he did. But so
I
Trevor
just need
Rogers,
to see him with Oral on his
yeah,
hat.
100%. So I was about to start talking about Kobe Mayo. Trevor Rogers, he actually hasn't. He had 1 bad month this year.
Sort of like Nolan Ryan. Is that what you're comparing him to?
No. So he's going to be our only lefty starter, which is nice to have. That's why I think he likes it, and he's controllable. He's a free agent in 2027, so you get him for 2.5 years.
And it's like 7 foot.
He's tall. He's a tall lefty.
So if we make a team basketball team, like we're good.
He's our center. Yeah. But I mean, he had the month of May really was a struggle. In 19 2/3 inning, he has 7.78 ERA. But I mean, in April and March, he had in 31 1/3 innings, a 4.31 ERA. But since the beginning of June, he's not had above a 3.56 ERA.
Okay.
That's good. And that's in 54 innings.
Okay.
So that's a decent chunk that he's been doing good. And just keep in mind, he's going to be our number 5 starter. He is not going to see the mound as a starter in the playoffs.
It's just a lot.
It's a lot. You have to think though.
I mean, I saw what the Astros gave up for Kikuchi.
Yeah.
And this is probably an equal to equal.
I mean,
They gave up all 3 of their big prospects.
Yeah, that's you have to take that in consideration. You say Kikuchi's a rental, and they gave up 3. Connor Norby, he didn't have a place on this team, and teams knew it, and I think teams probably used it to their advantage against us. But I mean, when you have Connor Norby, who's just going to be getting sent on the shuttle up and down constantly, and then Kyle Stowers, I guess, was just there had to have been a bidding war with some other team for Rogers, and Stowers is what pushed it over, because I don't see Elias going into this saying Norby and Stowers for Rogers.
Yeah.
I think it's a Norby for Stowers.
Right.
The one thing I can say is that I'm happy for Norby and Stowers. They're going to go, and they're both starters.
The only problem is, you know what the issue is? They have to play for the Marlins.
Yeah, that does suck. But they get to be
At least they didn't go to the A's.
At least they're in Miami.
Yeah.
They're inside.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
started looking at.
Can you imagine getting traded to the White Sox?
That's the worst one right there. But
yeah, so I get it.
It really sucks, and this is where you start getting into, like I said, Orioles fans. We're gonna have our feelings hurt.
Yeah.
Austin Hayes hurts to leave. Connor Norby and Kyle Stowers, they hurt to leave. There's some fan favorite guys, but
yeah, I get it.
They didn't have a spot. It's almost doing them a disservice to just keep them in AAA, come up for 5 games a year.
You're right. No, I completely agree with you. I just my issue
feels like a lot. Yeah.
My issue isn't getting rid of them. It's just I just know when, as an Oriole, when we sold everything, we got like nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Dean Kramer for Manny Machado. I know we got the Cuban dude, but it didn't work. But come on, like, hey, if we were bad right now, can you know the call we would get for Manny, for Scope, for O'Day, for and
I mean, if we had 2018, say we traded O'Day.
Oh, we're getting everything.
We're getting the Padres number 2 and 4 overall. Because that's what really, I think, screwed this place up. Is the Astros and the Padres screwed over the deadline.
Yeah.
Because Tanner Scott, I'll get it, great reliever, but to give up your number 2, your number 4, your number 5, and your number 24
for a fringe team, they're on the cusp of the wild card.
But so's every National League team.
That's why I believe, I know you heard me saying this a while ago, is I almost need the trade deadline to be 2 weeks later, because it's at the point now where nobody knows who's a pretender and who's a contender, because it's like everybody has a chance right now.
Yeah.
So I love the expanded playoffs. I don't want to change that. I also do not want the waiver trade deadline like we used to do it. I just want the trade deadline to be 2 weeks away, and that way we can know that the Rangers should have sold. Yeah. Like stuff like that. You know what I mean? The Tigers, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And the Tigers had a hard time selling too much because they're still close, and then, but I mean, it's close, especially for next year.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's like, you have the Cubs. They're
right there.
5 games under 500 or something like that, and they're buying.
Yeah. But anyway, so moving on, we had some weird ones now. Those are our 3 big ones, right? Sir Anthony, Zach Eflin, Trevor Rogers. The Orioles traded for a guy that a few years ago would have been an untouchable, but he has had injuries for quite a while. That's Eloy Jimenez of the White Sox. At first, I was really nervous because at this same time that this dropped, that Jackson Holliday just got pulled out of the lineup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I swear, this is the wrong center fielder. Like, this isn't the center fielder. So this guy
doesn't play center field.
He did at the beginning, and that's how he kept getting hurt.
Yeah.
But he's really a DH. Huge power bat. Like, he can have a ton of power. He has a big hole in the bat sometimes. So the best way I can describe this guy, he doesn't have the power numbers for this season right now, mainly because of injuries. But this is sort of like a right-handed Chris Davis. And that's not fair to Chris Davis, but I mean, he could be. He can hit bombs. Yeah. I mean, this is we'll see. The only thing that makes me nervous is the Orioles is a very much a power strikeout team right now, and this is who you just traded for. We gave up nothing for him.
Yeah, we gave up Trey McGuff, who I will say is doing excellent in AAA this year. I mean, he got called up. He had a 2.08 ERA, 34 and 2.32. I'd have to believe he's going to be in the White Sox bullpen. So good for him to get a shot. But I mean, Eloy, I hope that he is coming to be just against lefties, because against lefties he's not bad. He's not had in 50 plate appearances against lefties. He's batting a 304 and 730 OPS and a 106 OPS plus, which means he's above average. That's good.
Okay,
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for me, the only time he should be playing is when there's a lefty starter and you don't want Kjerstad and O'Hearn in the same lineup.
Yeah.
That's really what you don't want. You have Kowser, Mullins, Kjerstad, and O'Hearn, you're gonna have probably 3 of those 4 play every game for you.
Yep.
You don't want that to be all the time, because if you have Kowser in center field, well then that means Kjerstad's probably in left. And then O'Hearn's probably DHing. Well, now, say you don't want O'Hearn to play that game because O'Hearn does struggle against lefties. You have Eloy that can DH or something like that. I don't see him playing in the outfield at all, because he's definitely not going to play in left field. He's a rental. It's a cheap deal for a rental. If something clicks, you could see maybe the Orioles coaches tap into something and he has a nice 2-3 months.
This will be a guy you're going to see probably pinch hit for Kjerstad when they try to go lefty on lefty. Yeah, or even Cowser, I guess,
Mhm.
if they try to go lefty on lefty and one of them are in and out. Yeah, so I don't hate the deal. I mean, yeah, I saw a lot of people really talking trash about it. This isn't we have lost nothing. Like, don't stress on this. We gained a power hitter that we have him for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
And we just let it go.
Yet again, Trey McGuff's doing good in AAA, but I'm sure there was a reason he had to get called up.
Yeah, I mean, so it's one. Yeah, I mean, if I swear, if there was a good bullpen piece in the minor league system, he would have been on our team.
Yet again, I don't know what Michael Elias's fascination with Brian Baker is, but
Yeah,
like,
bro, get BB out. All right, so
this one's an interesting
Yeah.
one. I like this.
yeah, so the next one the Orioles receive, I'm gonna have to have Elijah talk about
I was
this
just
because you're
gonna
way
say-
deeper. But we have Austin Slater,
Levon.
Levon Soto, and then some guy named Cash Considerations.
Yeah, I've heard he's good. I've heard he's
Yeah,
good.
the Reds receive Cash, and then player to be named. Wait,
So no, that's actually where the caveat is. It's not Cash and the player. It's Cash
or the player. Okay,
So it's a weird thing. Austin Slater's done. He's not really had a great career, good season or anything. Split it with the Giants and the Reds. Levon Soto. Orioles fans should be familiar with the name, saying that he's come in and out of our organization, I think at least twice at this point. And obviously Cash, we all know what Cash is. But Austin Slater and Levon Soto, don't think these are going to be major leaguers. I can almost guarantee you they will never put on an Orioles uniform unless something very bad happens. Just keep in mind, Kyle Stowers, Connor Norby, they were both just traded.
Yep.
They were on AAA Norfolk. Terran Vavra just got called up. He plays infield and outfield. Jackson Holliday is on his way up to Baltimore as we speak. We have all these players. Someone has to replace someone. They still have to play games in Norfolk. That's what they're going to do. Levon Soto and Austin Slater, and just think of Austin Slater and Levon Soto. That's Norby and Stowers replacements, basically.
Yeah.
And then I think the way I would have to take this is the Cash is maybe if they don't make the MLB team and a player to be named later is. I'm sure the player's already probably known.
Yeah.
It's just, it all depends. These are one of those weird GM deals that no one understands.
Yeah. I do really like the next one. The Phillies have really, I don't know if our GM's like best friends with each other or something, because we need bullpen help. The Phillies are trying to get rid of some of their questionable bullpen pieces.
Yeah.
And they're willing to pretty much help take some people. So the Orioles, right at the end of the trade deadline on Tuesday, we traded and got Gregory Soto from the Phillies. My man throws 117 miles an hour. Not really, but he throws really hard. We gave up Seth Johnson and Moises Chase.
Yeah, so
I don't know why I say Chance. There's not even an
I don't know. You just
guys. There's a lot.
Smart.
I'm looking at a massive sheet that Elijah put out, and there's like 1,000 names.
It's 2 pages long.
Okay.
And one page of it
all names
is all he's looking at.
All names. There's thousands, and none of them are easy. Okay, Trevor Rogers was pretty easy.
Yeah. So Gregory Soto, 2-time All-Star for the Tigers, came over to the Phillies and kind of didn't do as good as he was expected to do. But I mean, he's had a decent season still, I would say. He's got a 4.08 ERA. I like the FIPS a lot lower. He's kind of one of those players that's been good, and you know what to expect. I think he definitely you could see him bounce back with the Orioles. Don't expect him to be like a Sir Anthony. Sir Anthony's here for high leverage. Soto's here, I think, just to not be terrible, basically.
Yeah.
This is your 6th best reliever, 7.
This is
not a good one.
This is adding power, dude. So this is, in my opinion, this is 6th, 7th inning, having a guy throw 100 mile an hour at you.
Yeah.
Then you have Sir Anthony, 100 miles an hour at you. Then you have Cano, high 90s, 100 mile an hour at you. Then you have Kimbrel, and we'll see. But yeah,
I mean,
it helps.
And the package isn't terrible that we gave up.
No.
He's a free agent through 2020 in 2026, so we get him for next year too, which is, I think, really going into the deadline. Elias was talking to the booth again during the game, and was kind of saying that it was really key for them to get pieces for more than just this year, because you got to think Corbin's not going to be here next year.
I hope so.
Well, I mean, yeah, if he was, that'd be something. But it's just, I don't know. You have to keep in mind that there's more than just this year. Because say this year we go all in, and all it takes is Gunnar to get hurt, and we're screwed. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So we're helping this year and the future. And we really, like I said, we didn't give up Moises Chase. No clue who this dude is. Yeah. The Phillies must like him or something like that, though. I think he's in Aberdeen right now. Well, not anymore, obviously, but
Him and a guy, you're like, dude, that's that guy that we used to have.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he's going to be an all-star closer in 4 years. But Seth Johnson, he's a right-handed pitcher. We got him in the Trey Mancini deal. And he kind of just underperformed. He had some injuries. He's been I tend to group the three pitchers, Kapovich, Chase McDermott, Seth Johnson together, and he's definitely the lesser of the three.
Yeah.
So, and looking back at the trade deadline, I don't think it's terrible when you think that, okay, if you had told me going into this deadline, you lost 2 of your top 5 pitching prospects, Povich and McDermott, one of them's definitely gone. No, it was only Baumeister and Seth Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And I mean, again, Phillies are out of the division, so it's not like we got to worry about them.
Yeah.
And then the big blockbuster trade everyone's looking for.
Yeah.
The Orioles traded with the Pirates. So, we're going for O'Neill, Cruz, Cabrian Hayes. Nope. We got Patrick Riley.
Oh.
Patrick Riley, their 20th ranked prospect, I believe is in high A, double A, something like that.
Because Elias is still ready to pack our farm.
He sure is. And
I like it.
We gave up Billy Cook, who he's with the Tide. He can play everywhere, and he's our 28th prospect. He's been doing good, but there's really no room for him. I was telling Cody this before we started. I think he's probably getting called up soon, and he's gonna try to help a playoff push in Pittsburgh, which would be cool to see. Like, that's why I have no problem with our guys going and doing good on their other teams, as long as we get as long as the guys we get are doing better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, it's a prospect swap. It's kind of a weird one, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know which one it was though, but Elias did say one of the deals got done at 556, which is like right at that. But looking back at everything overall, I mean, you have lockdown righty reliever, a nice lefty reliever too.
Yep.
You get 2 starting pitchers, a lefty and a righty. You get righty outfield bat and some, I guess, just safety guys that if something does happen. And that's kind of what Elias was saying. That was our target. You wanted a righty reliever, lefty reliever, righty outfielder, and 2 starters. That's exactly what we got.
Yeah.
And I think what hurt the deadline this year is that a lot of the big names didn't get traded. Crochet shot himself in the foot because he decided to. I don't know if you guys have heard, but basically Crochet came out and said, "Oh, if you're going to trade for me, I'm going to stay a starter no matter if I get hurt or not." He doesn't want to go to the bullpen. And, I'm not going to pitch in the postseason unless you extend me. That right there, no team's trading for you.
Yeah,
I could have told you.
The problem with that is he didn't tell his GM that he was going to say any of that.
No, that was his agent came out and made that statement. And poor White Sox GM, he's just trying to sell anything and everything that he can. That's not the stadium, basically.
Yeah.
And he just, I'm sure he couldn't have sold him for a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know.
That's something you would see in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, or Dallas Keuchel will trade for $1.
Yeah. No, like in the NFL, you'll see, I'm not playing unless I get a contract extension.
You know, they're not showing up.
So he's on the White Sox still, so he's obviously not going to play in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, you're like I was telling him, is that the White Sox have currently lost 15 games in a row now.
Jeez.
And in case you're wondering, Garrett Crochet, the last game he won was as an American League All-Star.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, he hasn't. The White Sox haven't won a game since before the break. So that's just keep that in mind, Crochet, when you want to run your mouth.
Wow. Yeah.
But I mean, Elias was also saying the new ownership group kind of gave a passion. Like, they have a passion to go get guys, and they're extremely supportive of Elias and what he does. So I think that's great to hear that they're going to go out, because I also don't think Elias is built to really go get the big names.
Yeah.
Even we have money. I'm not saying in free agency. I'm just talking about in trades, because he does it. I think he values the farm system a lot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, some other moves that were made today that were just internal is that Cole Irvin got DFA'd and Blake Hunt was called up. He was our taxi squad catcher, and he's coming up because, McCann got hit in the face.
Yeah.
And is still somehow actively playing. I don't understand it. Vavra got called up. He's replacing Norby because, of course, Norby was playing. Jackson Holiday was taken out of the AAA lineup, and we found out right before we came on that he's getting shipped to Baltimore. And if I had to guess, Vavra's probably going to get sent back down because, I mean, he's kind of there to be that extra infielder, and that's what Holiday is. So I look forward to Holiday just going on a tear here. But how I imagine the rest of the roster is going to kind of shake out, Blake Hunt's going to go down eventually, and Eloy Jimenez is going to obviously come on, and I'd have to assume Christian Pache is going to go to AAA, and that allows room for the rest of our players that we traded for to kind of get fit on the team. And here is what our new rotation will look like.
Okay.
Corbin Burns starting off, then Grayson Rodriguez, then I'm having Zach Eflin slot in to third spot, Dean Kramer and then Trevor Rogers down at the 5, which when you think about it, Dean Kramer and Trevor Rogers are a pretty good 4 and 5. And then in our bullpen, you have Craig Kimbrell, Yenny Cano, Anthony Dominguez, Cino Perez, Jacob Webb, Albert Suarez, Gregory Soto, and then I couldn't decide here whether it's Keegan Aiken or Birch Smith. It's probably going to be Keegan Aiken because
But we want Birch Smith.
They just love Keegan Aiken.
Please do, Birch.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm happy with how the deadline worked. I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say I love it,
Yeah.
but I guess the argument is like that I literally can't say, well, I wish you would have done this, because that was a possibility. But it seems like everything I wish just wasn't a possibility. You know what I mean? They just wanted so much for what we were giving. Like, you know, I just really thought that maybe I'm just delusional, because I mean, I just thought that, you know, you could package Kobe Mayo, Kyle Stowers, and somebody else and get Crochet or just any of those big name starters.
Yeah,
And it just wasn't. I mean, I guess it was Jackson and Mayo together or nothing. And I don't blame him. Like I am, after we made the trade for Trevor Rogers, it's funny. I was talking to one of my buddies, and he was saying how Evan. I was talking to Evan. Shout out to Evan. I was talking to Evan, and he was like, I just want them to be done. Like, no more trades. I don't want to give. It's like, you know, you need to get like a shot. You know, like you're at the doctor and you're getting a shot, and you get that first one, but you have 3 you have to do. Yeah. And you're like, dude, no, I'm done. Like the first one, that one hurt. I'm done. I don't want any more. Yeah. I'm good.
Luckily, the other 2, they were fake shots.
Yeah, they were okay. They were the nose spray.
Yeah.
You know, they were the nose spray.
I mean, and it's just I'm looking back at my list that I had last week of all the players that could be traded, and there's just so many teams that you would have thought, like the 2 people that I had from the A's that I thought we could have gone after, they weren't traded.
Yeah,
it's just so many people weren't moved, and I think it hurts it when I'm sitting here and I would consider myself, I have fairly excellent baseball knowledge. I know
fairly excellent.
Well, I'm just saying that
I know.
If I was to go and try to name the 26 men on an active roster of a random baseball team, I'd like to confidently say I could probably get 18. And there's people traded that I've never heard of before in my life. And it's just, I don't know. It was a weird deadline. And I don't think it's good. And like you said, I think something might have to get changed. But if you were to ask me on like scale 1 to 10 this deadline, I'm at probably a 6.
Yeah,
6 or 7.
I don't hate that,
because I'm not happy with like it, if you were to think that we got 2 relievers, 2 starting pitchers, and an outfielder. Yeah, and we realistically gave up what? Austin Hayes is bad, Norby and Stowers okay, and then some other lower prospects. That's not terrible. We compared to what other teams gave up, we got 3 players for the price of Yusei Kikuchi. Yeah. I don't know. It was just I think teams are trying to push, and you're going to start seeing more of what the Orioles and Phillies did, where you're trading 2 contenders. That's why I never brought it up, because I know it's just never going to happen. But there was one other team I would have loved us to trade with that I could have been okay with sending Jackson Holliday to.
Okay.
The Mariners.
Okay.
Because they have just such a wealth of starting pitching.
Oh, right.
They could trade 2 starting pitchers and still have 4 people in the rotation that all have below 3.5 ERAs. Right. Like that's just, and nothing's going to happen because contenders don't trade together except for apparently the Orioles and the Phillies. Yep. And I don't know. This was a very weird deadline. It was scary though when I'm at work and I'm seeing nothing happen, because I work today and I'm looking at my phone at noon, and there have been like 3 trades across all of baseball. Yeah. Of course, the last hour there was like 45. Yeah, which is insane. But I mean, I was just sitting there and hoping for the best, and it kind of kept coming through, because I know I called you when Eloy happened, and I was sitting there. I was like, well, I kind of don't want this to be the last one, because that's just, I wish we'd go out and get another reliever, which luckily we did. Yeah. And it's better than worse. Yeah.
So, I just came across the Jack Flaherty trade. Mm-hmm. They got decent comeback. I mean, they got a catcher and an infielder, Trey Sweeney. And when I'm looking at anybody ranking the hauls of trade, this is the worst one. Like they didn't get much at all for
Tigers.
yeah, the Tigers didn't get much at all. So
Trey Sweeney, I've heard that name.
for Jack Flaherty. So at least they got a steal, which of course because they always get a steal.
Man, I bet the Astros are wishing they went after him instead of.
Yeah, because he was better than Trevor or Yusei Kikuchi. But obviously, as an Orioles fan, I'm okay with that because I think maybe you think that might hurt him how he fell off at the end of the trade deadline last year. Would that stop a team from?
I don't know if it would stop a team. I think it would stop the Orioles from going after, because like I said last week, is that if his fall off happens with another team, we're both not as hesitant to go after
You're right.
a guy like him.
You're right.
But it's because it happened with us. Because all it takes is he didn't, like this year compared to last year, he's doing much better already. And he didn't, he just didn't mesh with the coaches or something. Like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's bound to happen. You're not going to win on, if Mike Elias is good at everything but certain trades, I think you can be okay with that because, look at this year. We might look at back in 2 years and say, wow, Connor Norby's an MVP candidate and Trevor Rogers is not even on the team anymore. And I don't know, but success is what matters. And we're trying to compete now.
Yeah.
And the players that we got rid of weren't helping us compete now. In one way or another, just because they're blocked.
Yeah, we gave up in all of our trades. We gave up one person from our major league roster.
Yeah. We gave up, 3 people that had,
I guess Norby.
We gave up in Stowers. We gave up 3 people that had ever played for the Orioles. Yeah. And you gotta think Kyle Stowers hadn't even put together a full season across 3 years.
Yeah.
Austin Hayes is really the only one that I'm hurt by Hayes and Norby. Norby sucks, but I had already in my head he was gone. Yeah. I thought he was gonna be gone before the season ever started, but it's just you also look at it. You look at what the Astros gave up for Kikuchi, and then you think, well, we got more of Corbin Burns for less.
Right.
Obviously, Joey Ortiz is doing good, but still, it's just I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine some of the calls that Elias had to be getting today.
Oh my gosh, yeah. They don't. It's not like it's in their like little secret code. They never talk about it. But I can't imagine the craziness or how close was he to trading somebody that we're talking about right now.
I would have to assume that he, unless, because I also saw rumors out, yesterday, that Mayo, Basayo, Kerstad were untouchable. Yeah. And if that's the case, then that could have just shut down, that could have made the Tigers, obviously, you do have to think, this is all rumors that were going off, and maybe they never were in talks.
Right.
And it was all a rumor.
Very true.
The rumor mill goes.
Yeah, very true. It's
always spinning.
It's so hard to know what's media and what's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
I think because obviously you have certain reporters, you have John Heyman, Jeff Passan, John Morosi. You have maybe 5 reporters that if I see them post something, I know that's most likely accurate.
Yeah. Well, I get it.
And it's so hard. Even I think it was Heyman. He even messed up on something.
Oh, really?
There was right at the end of the deadline. He said. JD Davis on the Yankees, he, of course, just got DFA'd. He was getting traded, and he wasn't. It's so hard to tell because you have these guys that are relying on other people, I guess, from... I don't even know how that really works that well, but they're relying on these other people to give them this information that... What's the chances these rumors are just not true?
Yeah.
Because all it takes is for some intern for the Yankees to say, Aaron Judge is getting shopped around, and it could go from there.
Yeah, I guess the one good thing from... this week was that we didn't get any massive starters, and the Yankees also didn't get any massive starters.
I feel much better about if I was a Yankees fan, I'd feel worse.
Yeah.
I'd say that.
Jazz is doing good.
Jazz is, and he's a good player. I would say the type of player Jazz is, was he intentionally doing bad to get traded? Who knows?
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing with him, but I don't think the Yankees are really scared of an attitude problem because they just don't care.
Yeah. He was so hyped that he had I was watching MLB Network and they were all talking about this multi-home run game for him. He hit it off the second home run with the backup catcher in the last inning. I'm like, that shouldn't count. You know how when you steal a base, but yet they don't throw it down, it's runner indifference. Yeah, catcher. Yeah. Hitting a home run off a position player
shouldn't count.
You give your RBI.
Yeah,
but the home runs, nah.
Well, how about this? Something that I saw today while watching. So Ramon Arias, luckily, I think a reason you say people wanted him traded away, he's been playing amazing recently, and he's actually had to play now since Mateo's been hurt. And he stole a base today,
Really?
but he was out, and the top of his cleat, his first spike, got caught in the guy's glove, ripped his glove off his hand, so he was safe.
Oh, wow. Wow,
Took the glove and ball off.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so, I mean, but that was just something funny. But Arias has been doing great, too. Santander,
man.
you heard it here first. I'll say this right now. Santander is going to finish top 5 AL MVP. He'll probably be 5th, but
Because he's Anthony Santander.
well, just look.
If he played in New York, he'd be first.
If he played in New York,
Second.
I'm going to be honest. He plays in New York. He's almost Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Like he's hit his 31st home run. He's keeping pace with Judge somehow, and Judge is Judge is going to win MVP. Judge is insane, but he's doing better than Gunnar over the past month.
Yeah, Gunnar, man, it just looks ugly. It just looks so ugly.
He needs a day off.
God, it looks ugly. Man, like whenever there's a ground ball shortstop, I hold my breath.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna make this play. He gets to the bat, I'm just hoping he hits. You talk about. I mean, if we want to be real, you talk about a fall off, dude. I mean, he went from
Rutschman.
AL MVP, and it is just falling, and it's just like you're just hoping at some point he shaved the mustache off.
Maybe that was it. Yeah.
You're hoping that he hits the ground and starts climbing back up the ladder.
I mean, you look at Rutschman too. I mean, Rutschman for the past month. I mean, a month and a half ago, his batting average was almost at 300, and he's at like 260 now. He's been bad too.
Man, I just don't know. And who would have thought? Boy, you know what we need right now? Colton Cowser. Anytime like we need a hit, I'm like, I hope Colton's coming up.
Him and Tony.
Yeah, I mean, like
putting him at leadoff was smart by Hyde. I think it's a nice move.
Yeah,
because I think it's just. I think you also have to take into consideration on a team like the Orioles, position player wise, other than like Santander and Mullins, Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman are kind of veterans compared to a lot of players.
Yeah.
Adley Rutschman is a clubhouse leader, and I mean, I'm sure it takes a toll when the team's doing not as great as you're supposed to be doing. You're in a rut, and you're causing a part of that rut when you're supposed to be something that the lineup can rely on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much. Obviously, if you've ever played baseball, you know it's 90% mental.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot, and that's why I think if you look at Rutschman's stats, he is a significantly worse hitter when he catches in games, which I don't know if that's just something with him this year. If it's going to be a thing, he's going to have to pull a Joe Mauer and transition alpha catcher, but he's such a good defensive catcher. It's just, these are all things that I'm sure Michael Elias has to think of. And
right.
The one thing I'm saying is every day I'm getting more worried that we're not going to re-sign Santander because his price tag keeps going.
So just real quick before we log off here. So, as you know, the Orioles have really been struggling the past few games. Our last 10 were 4-6. Just to give you a heads up, the Yankees last 10, they're 5-5. The Red Sox last 10, they're 3-7. Okay, and that's all teams that are fighting for playoff spots. The Guardians, they're 6-4, so they're right there. They're barely over 500, trying to stay in it. The Astros, everybody's talking about how amazing they're doing. The last 10, 5-5. Okay, the Phillies, best team in baseball. Everybody keeps saying, and I do think they are. I'm not knocking that. I'm just the last 10, 3-7. Okay, the Braves, 3-7. All right, and it's just funny how I get it, and I am the first one that's freaking out.
Yeah,
please know that I'm the first one. But every time I keep looking at this, I'm just like, you look at it and you're like, oh, dude, we could be 8 games up.
Yeah.
But that's not.
I mean, that takes me back to yesterday of the game when the 3-run home run was hit. It's 7-3, and I'm like, we're losing.
We're losing this game. Yeah, right. That's me.
And we go on to score 11 runs, but it's just like you said. And me and my dad talked about this. I don't understand how people can win because it seems like everyone's losing. The bad teams are still losing. The good teams losing.
Who's winning?
Who's winning? Apparently, it's the Padres and the Dodgers are about it. That's winning. It seems like.
Yeah. You just don't want to be the White Sox. They're 0-10.
I mean,
that's crazy. They've won 15-0, bro.
Are they playing tonight?
I don't know.
Maybe I need to tune in for the historical 16th loss.
What's the record?
I know it's a franchise record. We said it wasn't like.
I'm sure we did. That sounds like an Oriole thing. They are playing. They're winning 2-1 right now. They're in the 6th inning. So anyway, that game would be done by the time you listen to this, everybody. Well, everybody, we can't thank you enough for joining us on another episode of the Utah Street Banter podcast. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, we have really good news about how our new acquisitions are doing. And hopefully, we get to talk about how Jackson Holiday has stepped into this lineup and just destroyed.
Just amazing.
Just destroyed. But I am excited for Jackson Holiday to step in, maybe get some blood flowing. Let's go. You know,
he got his feet wet a little bit.
Maybe let's get going. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
The cold.
Yes, maybe. But thank you again for joining us on another episode. We can't wait to see you next time. Please make sure you like, follow, subscribe on all of our platforms. We're on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and make sure you comment, kind of leave some feedback. And we'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great week.
Yep. See ya.
See you guys.